All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line. Today's guest, I'm going to give you a little hint, okay? Today's guest got his real estate license at 19 years old, became a millionaire at 23 years old. All right, today's guest is of Ecuadorian and Italian background and heritage. He's the founder of Rapid Realty out in Brooklyn, New York, real estate firm. He's also the author of The Heart of the Deal. He wrote that book back in 2019, okay? He's also the founder of Lolli Brands Entertainment, all right? And now, Mr. I just threw his name out there, so now you probably got an idea of who he is, right? Now, my guest made a radical body transformation in 2019 by losing 125 pounds in a minimal period of time. Pure motivation, complete mental transformation and body transformation, okay? A radical body transformation. He's also the creator of Amazon series, a docu-series, which you can find at www.rbtshow.com. I'm going to attach the link to this on YouTube so you can find it. And the docu-series is From Fat Lolli to Six Pack Lolli. All right. He's also a father, a husband, a philanthropist, and of course, a humanitarian. Today's guest is Mr. Anthony Lolli. Mr. Anthony Lolli. Anthony, thanks for taking the time, man, to being a guest on the bottom line.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
For sure. You have had such an amazing impact on so many different industries, across so many different industries. You're talking about, I mean, look, I got my real estate license 2008. I didn't really get to use it until like 2010. Okay. Around 2010, I'm working in the city. I'm working with Platinum Properties. And I'm doing, this is like way before the West Side really blew up and started doing the new construction high rises that I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yep.
I'm trekking it from like 30 Wall all the way to the West Side and doing my job, right? Taking pictures, posting ads on Craigslist. And I said, I'm sick of it. I want to get into walk-ups, got into walk-ups, got into the boiler room setting over at Manhattan Apartments, started renting walk-ups and made a transition from, from Manhattan Apartments all the way to Bond, learned sales, real estate sales at Bond, and decided, you know what, Barclays Centers was being built on the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I said to myself, I've got to be in Brooklyn. But my problem was I couldn't find a lot of activity in Brooklyn for, a guy who was trained in the city. So I started reading The Real Deal. And that's the very first time I saw you. That's the very first time I heard of you. I saw you in The Real Deal. And I just started following you since then. And I'll be honest with you, when I got into Brooklyn, I was actually going to join Rapid. And the only reason I didn't join Rapid was because you guys at the time had stand-up desks. And I said, there's no way in hell I'm going to stand up from after I'm walking the streets all day. I need a desk to sit down at. And that's really where I started following your career, Anthony. So this is a really big deal for my audience, for me. And again, thanks for taking the time, man. How have you been? Yeah, how have you been? How have you been doing
great.
This whole
been
thing?
Great. Been amazing. The documentary, as you mentioned, it's been doing record numbers. It's the #1 most watched fitness documentary of 2020. Our goal is to make it the #1 watched of all time. The actual picture is kind of like clickbait because this is a real picture of my before and after. So people that are not even interested in fitness, they just click on it because like, what is this about? So we've gotten a real broad audience, and it's so interesting because the fan base is so international because it's been translated into 53 languages.
Wow.
It's not only on Amazon, it's on Google Play, it's on Apple TV, and you'd be surprised. We get like 500 to 1,000 messages a day on our social media platforms. And it's so interesting to see where people's mindset were at during COVID, during the roughest times. I've talked down several people from taking their own lives,
Wow.
So, obesity and sickness and ailments can really cause and accelerate depression to that kind of level. So I feel really connected to people, you know, and making a difference and literally saving lives and changing lives, you know. So it's very gratifying, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And I want to take the time. I don't know if you've heard it, right? You know, I was a big hip hop kid when I was growing up, and I remember seeing you, and I remember seeing Carlos around Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, and I remember you guys. To me, you guys were like Big Pun and Fat Joe, man. You know what I mean? Like you guys are just
Yeah,
real. I remember, you know, you guys. I remember you specifically pulling up with the Rolls a couple of times, right? And that
yeah.
Rolls used to be known in Bay Ridge. You were like the mayor of Bay Ridge.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's only one or two guys that had a Rolls. I was one of them, and mine has I still have it. It has the custom license plate, Mr. Lolli,
Yeah,
and then the frame it says "I'm hiring." And
that's the
so
one. Right.
it's really good. It does the job. You know, we go to restaurants, we park it. People go to the website.
Yeah.
We got a lot of business from the Rolls. You know, and in fact, in our entertainment company, it's been used a lot in music videos and stuff like that. I did a couple music videos with Raekwon
Yeah.
from the Wu-Tang, and I
Yeah.
was his chauffeur and bodyguard. So
Wow.
it's cool, you know.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you went through this radical body transformation because, you know, like I was saying, I was a fan of Pun, and Pun was like a lyricist at the time. And, you know, his biggest challenge was losing that weight. So I think when he passed, because, you know, had the weight problem, you know, I felt it. The hip hop community felt it. But for most important, I think his family and today, like his son, you know, and I'm watching your
Well, I
story.
mean, think about what Pun was saying. One of his songs said, "I just lost 100 pounds."
Yeah.
If you remember one of his songs, he just was proud that he lost 100 pounds. I
Yeah.
just lost 100 pounds, or I forgot
Yeah.
how it goes, but
Right.
he wanted to lose the weight, you know.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, Fat Joe started losing weight, and now he's keeping himself in much better shape, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem. If you look at DJ Khaled, he's been trying to become a part of Weight Watchers, you know. He's
Yeah.
been shouting them out, saying, you know, and he's training. If you look at Rick Ross, he has Ross Fit, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to be healthy.
Yeah.
Something just came out on Men's Health magazine with Rick Ross, how he has a home gym. You know, everybody's on that health kick. Drake, everybody in the hip hop community knows health is wealth.
Yeah.
And, you know, you name it, it's a part of life. You have to do it, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, I like working out too. And I think a part of what I see a lot with the people is like, especially now, you know, I'm from the days of like, you know, reading the magazines, man, and looking for your workouts in the magazines, the fitness magazines, right? So like Ronnie Coleman days. And, but, you know, for people who are working out for aesthetics, you made a complete shift, right? I'm more curious to figure out, when did you really realize that you had to make, first of all, that you had, because you might sit on it for a while. I know I got to lose the weight. I know I got to change my eating habits. I know I got to do certain things. And then, you know, you have to invite that shift, right? And then you actually start making the moves. When did that happen for you?
Well, I tried 9 times to lose weight, but I really didn't try. I just made an attempt. I was a good starter, but I wasn't a good finisher. And the problem is that I was a good finisher in everything else I put my mind to.
Got it.
So in this case, I didn't put my mind to it. I just put my body to it. So
Yeah.
once I put my mind to it and I let the body follow, you know, I needed to actually have a reason. And in the documentary, I go over that reason. It's because my daughter told me, "Daddy, you're fat. I don't want you to die."
Right.
And I just, you know, I thought to myself, I've achieved so many things in my life. Why can't I do this? I can do anything I put my mind to. And so I set a goal, and I said I was going to document this thing, and I knew
Yeah.
I was going to get involved in the fitness industry. I knew I was going to do a documentary, and I was gun-ho after that. There was no, I put the blinders on, and there was no distractions. And I literally went offline. I changed my association. I changed my circle. I found new friends in the fitness world. And I wasn't posting on social media. I kept it a secret, and then I finally revealed it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it, I was like, your face. I was like, yo, this guy looks like somebody I know. Like, he looks like somebody I've seen before. And I think it's when I saw like the bigger version of you, the fat Lolli, and I was like, oh, that's Get Out, right? And I just started following you on social. You know what else I'm wondering is, like, let's talk numbers, because you did lose 125 pounds. So what were you, how much did you weigh at your heaviest?
My heaviest, I was 315 pounds. When I started the journey on the documentary, I was 305 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so my situation was I was able to always lose between 15 and 25 pounds. Every fat person has their tricks up their sleeve. And even, thin people,
Yeah.
they know how to lose, 5, 10, 15 pounds really quick.
Right.
So I was always able to fluctuate,
Yeah.
But when I got to a point where I just didn't care and I said, this is how I'm going to live, and that's that,
Yeah.
then I just wasn't even doing those tricks anymore, because every time I would do those tricks, and as an example, if I was 300, I would go on a crash diet and get down to 280. But when I would balloon up, it would go up to 305.
Wow.
Crash diet, then I would go up to 310. So it was a constant,
Up and down.
2 steps forward, 3 steps back,
Right.
So, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. So I want to go back just a little bit, right? Like there's something inside of you, and I believe this truly, and I work with my clients a lot about this, is identifying which one are you? Are you intrinsically motivated or are you extrinsically motivated, right? And somebody who's intrinsically motivated, typically, they don't really care what anybody thinks. They don't look for satisfaction or reward or recognition. They do this because it feels good for them. So for you to get your real estate license at like 19 years old, become a millionaire at 23 years old, what's going through your head? Like what's going through your
What's
mind?
going through my head is what kind of lifestyle I want to live. I grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up watching rappers like Nas, Jay-Z, P. Diddy, Biggie, everybody rapping and prophesying the lifestyle that they want to live, they're going to live. Talk about clothing lines, talking about record labels, talking about nice cars, talking about nice homes. And if you follow their careers long enough, they were actually achieving those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't an athlete, I wasn't a rapper, and I wasn't a drug dealer. So I found real estate to be a good avenue for me to achieve the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And in addition to, some of the hip hop influences, I saw other people that I was representing as a salesman. When I was renting their apartments, I would look at a landlord, I'd see they drive a nice car, they have a nice family, they have a nice lifestyle, they're on vacation all the time. Why is that? Well, they own 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a 9-to-5 job. So, I was looking at that. And so, whereas a typical person would look at a drug dealer with the gold chains and be inspired to do that, I was looking at the landlord with the BMW and, so I just took a different route, and I said, I want that life.
Yeah.
And so, I grew up with a very strong and loving parents. My dad was a school teacher, but he was also an entrepreneur at night. He did photo with the parrot. And my mom is an immigrant from Ecuador and hustled her way and made something of herself here in the United States, working really, really hard. So I knew both ends of the spectrum, and I knew that I also loved spending time with my family. So I built the lifestyle and a career. I chose a career path, and then I tailored it so that it didn't take away my time.
Love it. Love it. That's powerful, man, because there's so much there to unpack. I think the first thing is when you're thinking about, your background, looking at your dad's work ethic, your mom's work ethic, and the fact that you said, you know what, I don't want to be like the drug dealers. A lot of people go that route because it's faster. Getting into the real estate is actually a lot harder. You get more rejections. There's no, there's no support. There's no pulling your gun out and give me the listing. There's no taking over the block. There's none of that. It's like you got to literally go one door at a time, and people got to relate to you. They got to talk to you. They got to actually want to like you to do business with you. So it's actually really competitive. What I'm wondering though now, because you have this, you got this mental fortitude, and that's really what I want to tap into right now, right? Because it's like for you, you used it from 19 years old, and being a millionaire, at 23, I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm trying to survive day to day. You know what I mean? So there's this mental fortitude that you've already had, and you've already, said, I'm going to put my mind on this. I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to quit till I achieve. Right. And you've carried that into radical body transformation, your real life story right now. So talk to me a little about your self-image. When you were 19 years old, getting your license, becoming a millionaire at 23, were you a bigger kid? Were you a fat kid? Like, how did that stop you from, or talk to me a little bit about that.
I was always chubby as a kid, and I talk about it in the documentary. I was a chubby kid, but there were moments where in my teens that I got in shape. And then in my early 20s, I kind of really, really, really tried hard and kept myself in the 200, 220 pound range. Okay. But once the success started coming, working out and eating fell to the wayside, and it just kept going. For every $1 million I made, I gained a pound. Put it that way. So it was just,
how about that?
It just kept going and going and going. So and so I had a lot of good self-esteem, and and had every reason to. I was accomplishing all these other goals. So, much like a lot of the successful celebrities that you mentioned, and even more that continue to be obese,
Right.
they're living the life.
Yeah.
That's so they can proudly embrace their obesity.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have a problem with it at that time.
Okay, so like you're 23, you become a millionaire, right? And then you like, what was that? Not enough for you? Like, what's going through your mind? You're not you. What made you open Rapid and not go off and just do something else, right? Like, what made you go from Rapid and
Well,
grow?
I got cheated. I was working for a broker who ultimately ended up. I was working for a couple brokerages that were stealing listings and doing the wrong thing. I was very young and very green. Then eventually, I worked for this one broker who ended up. I built a team of like 10 agents who were making big money for the company. And then he basically wasn't paying us our commissions, and he ended up owing me like 30 grand.
Wow.
And I took my mother's advice. She said, why don't you start your own company? Because other companies were courting me to work for them and giving me a high split. And then I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then I was looking at commercial spaces. And then my mom said, why are you going to spend that much money on rent? Why don't you buy a building and put the office in the building? So I took her advice again, and I bought my first property at the age of 21, and then I put the real estate office because it was a mixed-use space. And so and those gave me a lot of challenges too. I had no more money left after doing a commercial loan where I had to put a big down payment and then do some renovations. And then I got robbed by a contractor who wanted the payment in full, and he never came back the next day. So I went through all of these hurdles and challenges. I had a building that went on fire where a tenant died. I mean, I had back-to-back challenges where I should have ran away from the real estate industry.
Yeah.
But I doubled down on it. I kept going, and I fell back on some of my mentors who told me to stick it out, and I stuck it out.
Let's go into that a little bit, right? So, I mean, at some point, you're going to just chalk it up, man. You got a building that goes on fire. There's obstacles and challenges left and right all over the place. And you're listening to your mom, but there's this part of, I think for me anyways, and I got this too, like, I'm not going to give up. I'll find a way around it, right? But you have this trust factor now. You get robbed by, the last agent or the last real estate office you're working with. You got a contractor that does you dirty, right? But you're still willing to grow. You're still willing to expand. And not only that, you've always been helping people, Anthony. Like, you've always been helping people, especially through Rapid. Everybody who worked at Rapid, once they got to know you, they got the culture, they talk volumes about you. They don't stop talking about you. So let's go into the trust factor a little bit. Like, what made you not want to pull away from people, but want to pull more into people?
I think I just put myself in a situation where, it's like boxing. I like to box. And so, in boxing, in how I learned, because I box in Gleason's gym,
okay,
you're going to take some punches, but if you're going to take some punches, take it over here because this is your skull. So, and sometimes you expect the punch because that leaves the person open. So, I knew where to take my hits. I knew when to duck, and I knew that I was an amateur. So I got hit because I didn't duck, or I didn't block, or I didn't anticipate. So in business and in life, you gotta, if you're working with exotic animals like lions and tigers, you're gonna get bit. But not every person that works in there gets bit. You got to learn to do that. You swim with sharks, you're gonna get bit, but you wear a metal mesh. You know what I mean? And handle the bites accordingly. So you're in a human being business. Look, there was a man that came to this earth, saved a bunch of lives, turned water into wine, and what did they do? They killed him. So what do I expect, from out of another human being? But you got to be able to survive and give. And like you mentioned, everybody that I gave, they paid it back tenfold, within the philanthropy that I've done, just giving people, what they say, you teach a man to fish, they fish for the rest of their lives. People are feeding their families, and from all the knowledge that I gave them, an opportunity that nobody else would, that was another thing. I gave people opportunities to break into the industry and have access to be able to make money and be a part of a culture, be a part of a movement. We had over 105 people tattoo the company logo on themselves. That's how life-changing it was to their family tree. And so, now many years later, people thank me and people send me pictures of them buying their first home or, starting their own business and just taking the mechanics of what they learned. And some people saying, man, I went on to work at other companies and I never felt the same love, the same support, the same everything. You're like a once in a lifetime type of guy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. It's good. It makes you feel real good.
Yeah, I love that. It's crazy. I used to see foreign cars around Rapid's office down in Sunset and right around, and you're like, all right, it was the Rapid guys, right? Because
oh yeah,
they're driving
one
the
of the
car.
biggest things I would do when I saw a promising salesperson, I would take them to the car dealer and make them drive their dream car.
Wow.
And they'd be like, I can't do that. I'm saying, listen, let's find out how much the down payment is, how much the monthly payments are.
Right.
Drive this car. We video it. We post it on social. We go down there. We drive the car.
Yeah.
We sit down with the person, and we would go through the numbers. Say, this is how many apartments you need to rent, a month to afford this payment,
Yeah.
And I would take it to the next level. Let's go look at the apartment you want to live in.
Yeah.
Go look at it. This is what it is. Then I'd say, let's go look at the furniture you want to buy online.
Wow.
And I would break it all down to say, listen, this is possible, and this is how many deals you need to do a month to sustain this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And guess what they would do? They'd actually do it.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. That's the power. That's like the law of attraction, but 10x that law of attraction is like get in that car, smell that leather, drive that car, live in the apartment, like all that stuff.
And they loved it too, because you know what I would do with really, really promising salespeople, because of who I was. I had great relationships with the dealers because they'd always get a car from them. They would give them the car for the day. So they would go out on appointments, and all of a sudden they were landing every deal. And I say, you know why? The clients respect you because of that car.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they saw the car, instead of as an expense, they saw it as a moneymaker,
Yeah, sure. And that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So then, okay, you're doing so well, right? And you've got a lot of success, man. And you've been tried, you're true, and you're not going to give up. You're consistent. You've got support. You've got Rapid. Rapid is expanding. But then you turn around and you then you become an author, right? And so when I first started out in real estate, man, I got to tell you, I was a legs in operation for at least 6 months before I got my first check, right? And then when I say legs of operation, I got this 5-star, 5-subject notebook with leads in it, all right, over at Manhattan. When I was in Manhattan Apartments, and I was going through those leads, I get 5% for a lead, for bringing the lead in, 5% for showing the lead, 5% for closing the lead, right? So that's 50% of every deal. This was rentals, right?
Right.
Renting apartments, Washington Heights, Harlem, you know what I mean? And they're moving fast during the rental season, right?
Yeah.
So I never was taught anything. Once I started figuring it out and I started running my own numbers and I started closing my own deals and I was just running clients through it, you know what happened? I realized I was getting robbed, right? So when I left, I decided I was going to go to Bond and learn sales. To me, sky was the limit. Now, here's what I'm curious about you. With you, you're literally giving away the game. When you came out with your book, The Heart of the Deal, you were giving game. You were also doing interviews on TV at that time. I think you were really studying the market, and you were giving predictions on what the market trends are going to be with stocks, bonds, and so on. So you were very influential. But what made you say, you know what? I want to give people game. I want people to win. And you didn't want to hoard all that information for yourself. Walk me through that mindset, that thinking process.
The word author means authority, and so I felt that I was an authority in the industry that I kind of was a big part of. I feel like, the company I came up with was similar to what Bad Boy and Def Jam did for the hip hop industry. I was one. You mentioned Bond. I know Bruno very well and his partner. Yeah. I mean, we were kind of the City Habitats. A lot of these companies were in that game, and I was part of it. So I wanted to write a book and teach people the knowledge, but I also wanted it to tell my story. It's half autobiographical, and the other half really gets into a one-and-done book. You don't need any other book. And one of the things that I remember getting into the real estate industry was reading books, The Millionaire Next Door and 10 Feet from Gold, all these different books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And so there's top 10 real estate books that you would want to read getting into the industry. Yeah. And I wanted to be one of those top 10 books. I wanted to be a book that would change somebody's life. And, if you plan on living a long time, when you plant these seeds, I have people that have read the book, that are multimillionaires that I now do deals with because they read the book and the respect level is there and they feel like they know me and we're doing business together. You know, I have people that I've mentored like a decade ago who now own large companies that used to work for me.
Wow.
And now we're doing deals together. Another example on the fitness side, during the pandemic, if you wanted to get a dumbbell, it was impossible. People were selling 5-pound dumbbells for like $300, right?
Yeah.
My partner Carlos is driving on the Jersey Turnpike. He sees a fitness store that's closed, and then he knocks on the window. They sell gym equipment, and he's knocking on the window, and the manager comes, says, "We're closed." And the manager opens the door. He says, "Listen, you know, I'm trying to get some weights. We're trying to get some dumbbells, this and that." And he goes, "I'm trying to get it from my partner, Anthony Lolli. Maybe you heard of him." He said, "I heard of him. I used to work for you guys." You know, whatever. He says, "Listen, we're closed, but I'm going to sell you the display model."
Nice.
So I was able to get gym equipment that nobody else could get during the pandemic delivered to my house because of somebody that I helped many, many years ago. Yeah. And he said, "You know, I'm a manager of not only this store, but 15 other stores because of all the things that I learned from working for you guys and stuff like that." So he goes, you know, so you just never know. So the book for me was just a seed that I was planting that would pay itself forward on top of teaching everybody and telling my story, you know, because a lot of people tell their story through social media. But if you have a new fan, they're not going back, you know, they're just looking at whatever you posted today or for a week, but that's it. So I wanted something that I could tell people, here's my story and here's where I'm at from now, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So like you literally you went full circle. That's what happened there. You went full circle, right? So now you go through the, you know, you're 315 pounds and you got, you know, you're doing well, you're well known everywhere, you're on the news, you wrote the book, you're doing book signings, people love you, right? And then, you know, there's something going on internally where you're like, because of what your daughter said, but then, you know, we don't always listen to our kids, right? And there's got to be something that's going on with you. You must have a vision into the future. I don't know. I see you maybe going into space tourism or something like a Bezos. So you go and you lose the weight, but you don't just lose the weight, right? You make this radical change. It's a complete lifestyle change. I mean, this is what you do. You went and made it so that, and there's the other part of it, and I was like blown away, right? Because here's somebody who's putting himself out there to get criticized. When you get into the competition side, you start competing, right? So it's like you can't get enough. You're a glutton for punishment, man. Right? So what motivated you now to go into the, you know, not just to lose the weight, but then go into the competing side?
You know, my standard of excellence. You know, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. And in my documentary, I said it right there. I said, "What's next?" You know, because I wasn't going to stop at just losing the weight. I wanted to take my shirt off. You know, you're talking to a guy who I have a beautiful pool and a beautiful home. I never even took my shirt off in my own pool in front of my own family. So like, you know, I wanted to be able to do the complete opposite. I want to be able to take my shirt off. It's kind of like a person with a phobia of snakes. You know, what does Tony Robbins do on stage? He makes you hold the snake, you know? So I wanted to do that to myself to break the phobia. Like when I'm at home now, I have my shirt off 24 hours a day. It's like the complete opposite. So, you know, you want to face your fears head on and you're going to do something, you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
That was it.
What about all that dead skin, Anthony? Like,
yeah, there was no skin, you know. It was interesting because, you know, once I lost all the weight, I saw I had loose skin, and I thought I wasn't going to be a candidate for it. But the reality is that there are pregnant women that gain weight just over 9 months, and they have to get tummy tucks, you know?
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do was lose all the fat, get down to like 8-9% body fat, and then videotape myself and say, "Hey, this is not liposuction. You can see my six-pack. This is just loose skin."
Right.
And so I went ahead and said, "You know what? I didn't go this far to just go this far. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to show people you can completely reverse everything, the damage that you've done." I did it in 9 months, you know, 41 years of damage. I reversed it in 9 months, and it wasn't bad. So I went through this surgery that was 7 hours, excruciating pain, and it was supposed to take me a year to recover. I recovered in record time. The surgeon said, I've never seen anybody's wounds healed like that. You could barely see any scars from it. And went back into the gym and said, what's next? I want to step on stage. Now that I did this, I want to show my body to the world and be an inspiration.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to be the person that's going to speak for the – hold on a second. Somebody's trying to call me. I want to be the person that's going to speak for the obese community, the transformation community. So, and that's exactly what I did. You know, I went on stage and got involved with Radical Body Transformations, partnered. We have the reality show now. We have people that we're changing literally thousands of people's lives. People sign up and they get involved and they completely transform their lives. You know, people that have all sorts of different reasons, whether they've been divorced or they had multiple children or you know, they have to because of some sort of a sickness. We change their lives. It's very gratifying.
Yeah, and you guys just took on a new personal trainer, right? I saw you posted that on.
Yeah. We assembled a nice team. We have like 20 of the most elite trainers in the world that I've personally worked with and hand selected, along with my partner James and Carlos. And what's good about these people is they've also done their own transformations.
Right.
So they've also either been really skinny and scrawny and wanted to put on muscle, or been obese and have done transformations. Because that was key for me, to be able to work with somebody that I could identify with. You know?
Right. So, that makes a lot of sense. So what I'm wondering too with you, okay, because I tried this, right? Like I tried working out repeatedly and trying to get to a place where my physique was like that I could compete, right? So let's go through your regimen a little bit, right? Because how old are you now, Anthony? Like
I'm 43.
43, right? Okay, so you start to feel a little bit of the joint pain and, you know.
Not really, honestly. You know, I'm really good because, like, you can see when I train my wife, I post a lot on social media. She's gone through a complete transformation. You know, she's a mother of 2. And the last pregnancy, she had what they call a diastasis recti, where her stomach muscle opened. That happens to a lot of pregnant women. And then she was very thin and frail. And now she's deadlifting 225 pounds, squatting 225 pounds. Today she did 35 push-ups straight. Dips, pull-ups, benching, you name it, she does it. And no joint pain, no nothing, because I'm kind of like Bruce Lee, how he perfected all the different martial arts and created his own. That's what I did with working with so many different trainers and being able to apply nutrition and just basic food and body science. I figured out a way where you can do this injury-free. And so, you know, thank God I didn't have any of those issues, you know. And you take fish oils and certain vitamins and, you know, you'd be surprised what a gallon of water a day does for your joints.
Sure.
And you'd be surprised with, you know, the right type of stretching and the right type of exercises to build your joint strength. To be able to handle, you know, some people, they do it the wrong way. And I learned, too, from being 315 pounds and 305 pounds doing box jumps and running, banging your knees. There's a certain way you don't do things because you can really injure yourself doing even jumping jacks. And so I think that a lot of people that don't work with people that have started from zero, if you do it the wrong way, you can turn somebody off. You know, you mentioned joint pain and stuff like that. And you also don't want to confuse joint pain with muscle soreness, just from because the whole point of working out is you're tearing the muscle down. But if you don't have nutrition, then you're not feeding the muscle to grow. And so you're hustling backwards. You know what I mean? You're putting water in a cup with holes on the bottom of it. You're wasting energy and you're not getting anywhere. And I think that's where the biggest problems with people's approaches to fitness is the person gets turned off. They don't get the results.
You don't just look good, you feel good. That's really what it is at the end of the day, right? It's not just aesthetics for you, it's full circle for you, right? It's
absolutely
internal, right? That's what I was trying to get out of you. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, I gotta lift heavy, or you know, but you're lean, right? So what I'm wondering too with you, you know, at 43 years old, you look like you're in excellent shape, right? Where were you when you were competing? What were you weighing in at when you were competing?
I was 174 on stage. 174 on stage. So I had lost literally 137 pounds in total. And then after that competition, I was actually supposed to compete 5 other competitions around the world. So I was going to stay lean at 174 And I really didn't get a chance to put on the enough muscle, because it's hard to put on muscle and lose weight at the same time. Although I broke records by doing that, that's as big as I could possibly get while on a caloric deficit. And so when COVID happened, I talked to my coach and my partner, Mike. I said, you know, it doesn't look, the gyms are closed. It doesn't look, but I have all this equipment. And I don't think any of the shows are going to happen. I said, as much as they haven't canceled them yet, because this is where everybody was still on the fence. They were saying, no, we're still going to do it. We're still going to do it. Yeah. I said, these shows are going to be in casinos or in auditoriums that are already, you know, saying we're closing down. So how are they going to be open if the actual venue is saying they're closed? So I said, let me go on a bulk diet. I said, I want to go on a bulk diet. I want to bulk. I want to put on some size on my legs. You know, I want to get a bigger back. I want to build my chest. And so I had a first chance to actually go on a proper bulking diet where I was able to pack on 8-9 pounds of muscle over the past 7 months during the pandemic, actually build some legs and back and be able to pick up heavier weight. Nice. And really eat more calories. So it was an amazing experience. So the goal was to go from 274 to 210 pounds. Okay. And so it was a struggle. Yeah, of course. Because I might completely change my metabolism. I'm a totally different person. So it was impossible for me to gain weight. I was like one of these skinny guys that say, I can't get weight. I can't get weight. I was like, who am I? Yeah. Hard so, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So what do I do? Because I was saying, man, I'm struggling to gain this weight. He's like, oh, go eat a cheeseburger. All right, eat the cheeseburger and slowly a little bit. And I was like, so what do I do now? He says, go eat another cheeseburger. I was like, okay, great. So finally got to 210. So I said, okay, goal reached. I packed on the muscle. I said, let's cut. He says, all right, let's switch gears. Boom. In like 4 days, I lost 9 pounds. I'm like, whoa, what is this? He's like, you're losing weight too fast. We got to change this diet. You got to, you know, no cardio for you. Just slowly lose the weight. So now I'm on a small caloric deficit. I think I'm still at 2,600 calories a day, but I'm losing 1 pound a week. Nice. So it's nice without doing any cardio. So my goal now is to get down to, I'm 196. I'm going to get down to 190. We're going to assess what I look like at 190. And then maybe I'll hit the stage again at 175. Sure. But I'm going to be a totally different human being at 175.
Ripped, completely defined. Like shredded. Yeah, you're going to look crazy. You're going to look nuts. Yeah. It's going to be insane. So I'm wondering too, like, okay, do you get like your diet, for instance? Like you said, you had to bulk up. So I'll tell you what my trick was, right? And my biggest was at 215, but my trick was putting butter and everything and eating after 9. Right? So
no, the body doesn't have a clock. And to be honest with you, we've had these discussions. Yeah. And every nutritionist on my team, they're like, the body doesn't know whether you're in Dubai, you're in Australia. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. You know, you burn calories in your sleep. You know, there's when you get on one of those machines, it tells you what your metabolic basal rate, or I forget what it's called, but it tells you basal metabolic, and so it tells you how much your body burns just to keep your organs going. Yeah. And so my body burns 1,800 calories at night. Wow. And so everybody has that, you know. So you know you're gonna burn calories, and so if you put in a good workout, it doesn't hurt to have a meal at night because you're feeding the muscles. So for us, we do it intelligently. You know, we have the right foods, the right amount of proteins, the right macros, the right amount of carbs. Yeah. And we do nutrient timing. So what's more important for us is the pre and post-workout meals. Those are the most important things. Okay. Before and after you work out, when you're putting your body through the most stress, where your cortisone levels are very high, and really, really balancing that out. And then, of course, you know, throughout the day, what you're going to be eating, you know, things like that. But so for a guy like me at that particular time when I was training 3 times a day. So, you know, and so my diet was completely different, you know. But now I'm down to 1 time a day. Sometimes I do 2 a days. But the second session is just like smaller body parts. I'll do calves, or I'll do forearms or something small. Okay. And so like I'm down to like more my regimen now is more about rest and recovery because I'm packing on muscle. Makes sense. So it's more like muscle preservation.
Gotcha. So let's talk immune system real quick. Like, it's crazy right now with the virus and everything. What are you doing for your immune system?
All the vitamins. I take maybe like 20 vitamins. I have a whole big thing. And we're coming out with our own supplement line too. We partnered up
Nice.
with some really good people. And we're taking the best ingredients of all of the supplements that I took during my journey.
Yeah.
And we're combining it into what we have, just using like the best formulas, and they're cutting out the fat, so to speak, that you don't take in unnecessary carbs and sugars that are just going to make your weight loss more challenging.
Yeah. Are you doing plant-based everything, like supplements?
No, I don't do that. My
Okay.
secretary who I train, she's completely vegan. And, she is so strong. She's only on her 3rd month, and she's, doing incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm better at training because I practice a lot with my wife and my friends,
Right.
or just her plant-based diet, but it's just an amazing thing where she's really, really strong,
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I saw a documentary on Netflix that talked about that, and that brought a lot of scrutiny and stuff like that. And
Right.
I follow a lot of vegan athletes and
Right.
bodybuilders, so I don't really have an opinion either way.
Sure.
But for me, I haven't gone that route.
Yeah. What you're doing is amazing, Anthony, man. I can't believe that you're still going. Like you haven't really, it's like you got this. I did it, conquered it, next. Did it, conquered it, next. What's next? That's where I see you going right now, right? So like you're on Amazon, you've got this thing going. It's a docu-series. People love it. And let me tell you something, it's changing lives. I mean, just watching the previews alone, sucks you right in, and you want to watch the entire thing. So like, what's next, man? What's going on with you? Like, say 5-6 years from now, what are you doing with Radical Body? What's Anthony Lolli doing?
The goal is to lose 1 million pounds. I want to lose 1 million pounds around the world, and that's my goal. Once I get to 1 million pounds, the business is going to be on autopilot. I'm always going to be, a figure in the fitness industry, much like pumping iron was Arnold Schwarzenegger's launching pad to his next career.
Right.
He was already a 6-time Mr. Olympian star before pumping iron, but nobody knew who the hell he was.
Right.
And he was also involved in real estate. So I don't know what the future holds with regards to this, but I do know that we're going to definitely save and change lives and help people stay in shape. And this is something that's going to be a part of the fabric of who I am.
Yeah.
My daughter is also in the entertainment world. She's an actress and a model.
Oh, wow.
So she's very busy too. She's done like over 43. She's only 4.5, but she's done over 12 projects a year. She's even had to file tax returns. I mean, she's like really busy.
Yeah.
And so, and now she's, becoming a real big personality, which is awesome. My son is 2.5.
Oh, wow.
We're putting him in. His goal is to be a hedge fund manager.
Really?
So,
He's 2.5, talking about being a hedge fund manager.
Yeah, hedge fund manager. And so, I'm really into family. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. 5 years from now, they're going to be almost 10 and he's going to be 8. So, they're like our best friends, so
wow.
Wherever that leads, because my main thing is raising a good family, but also letting them hold their own. I think a lot of people in a wealthy situation, they make a mistake where they basically groom their kids to take over their business,
right,
or take over their property. So what do you want to do? I'm only 43. If I live to 90, you're going to be 43. So you're going to be a bum till you're 43, till I'm dead, and then you can inherit my property. Like, I don't understand, So, like, I'm not going anywhere, and you got to hold your own. Like, you got a whole huge head start. You know what I mean? I'm going to coach you all the way. Right. I want you to be wealthier than me on your own accord by the time you're my age right now. So why not? So that in itself is a project. It's a whole, really developing a child and being there. And, so that to me is also very important. I waited later on in life to have children to be able to enjoy them. And so, every morning I wake up with the kids. My daughter, she's growing. And it's like, I'm like, I saw my wife. It's like, thank God I get to see them every day, because they're like, if I didn't, I'd be pulling my hair out. Because even seeing them every day, waking up, she's like an inch taller. I'm like, oh man. So So
happens.
it's you know it's never ending entertainment too. Like when you talk to the kids, you know, they're like,
Yeah.
how do you know this? How are you so smart? You know?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I got two myself, man. They grow up fast. And I tell them all
Yeah.
the time, listen, you need to slow down a little bit. Just chill out, enjoy this age. Because my son is
Mhm.
8, my daughter's
Yeah.
5, and my son is he's wearing his suit and he wants to be like Papa. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. I like it. You know, I think it's good building the confidence, but enjoy being 8. Because I can't
Yeah.
remember being 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember the
Yeah.
details really. So that's amazing. So are you done with real estate altogether? Is this all you're doing right
No,
now? Or are you
I'm
still in the
still
real
an
estate?
investor. I still own a large portfolio of real estate that we manage and operate. That's on autopilot. You know, we
Yeah.
have our own management company,
Nice.
and that's great. And it's performing well, thank God. And
Yeah.
we continue to buy assets that make sense to us. You know, we're divesting out of commercial assets because commercial's dead. You know, obviously,
Yeah.
retail, except for like small, you know, businesses like hair salons, nail salons, barbershops, and you
Right.
know. But even now, the restaurant business, you know, I don't know if it's going to survive. You know,
Right.
so for us, we love a good deal, so we close on deals at or anytime. We love good residential deals, so we'll continue to invest. You know, we still hold a small brokerage arm where we do some transactions here and there based on my popularity.
Yeah.
There are old clients that still, you know, only trust us with their business. So
Gotcha.
we have a small elite team that we refer the business to within our organization.
Yeah.
And if it's a large scale deal and we have the time, we'll entertain it and get involved ourselves on a consulting capacity.
Gotcha. So you're still in real estate. That's good to hear, man. Because that's really
Yeah.
how I started following you. I was like, if this guy can make it, I mean, I just need. My father. It's funny you say that, right? Because my father, when we were kids, he's always used to say, "Look for the boss. Always look for the
Yeah.
boss. Look for
Yeah.
what the boss is doing." So that's what I
Yeah.
would do in real estate. I'd always see what the boss is doing. I sit next to the boss. I look at the guy who's the most productive. So I'm glad to hear that you're still in real estate. The other thing I'm
Yeah.
wondering too, last thing I'm wondering, honestly, since you're like, your family man, do you ever think about childhood obesity at all? Like, there's a lot of
All the
that going.
time. All the time. I see it. I see, you know, the opportunity for kids to go the wrong way all the time. You know, my wife is an excellent mom and really good. You know, I post pictures of our kids eating kale and vegetables, and because they don't know anything else. They now know of other things,
Yeah.
but their palate is so used to eating this, and we've indoctrinated the health benefits. Plus, they watch the documentary, they see what happened to dad,
Yeah.
so they understand. It's ingrained in them. You know, my son is on a gluten-free diet and dairy-free, and so there's all these principles where we sit down and we talk to them like an adult,
Yeah.
and they understand why they can't eat this, why they can't eat that, you know.
That's
And
amazing.
so and they cooperate. And so
Yeah.
I see, like even today we just came from a birthday party from, you know, another parent friend's child,
Mhm.
and there's all the wrong foods there, you know, there's all the wrong, and those kids are eating it, and our kids didn't have that birthday cake. They had the vegan cake that we got for them separately on the side, you know.
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't eating any of the bad foods. I was eating a banana and my meal plan, you know. My wife, the same thing. She was eating her meal plan out of the Tupperware, you know. So, and then some of the parents came up to us. They were like, "I'm so sorry. I noticed you guys were eating all this food. I feel guilty." And like, don't feel guilty. It's just how we eat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you
Yeah.
could smoke a cigarette and I can't. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's just you. It's your life, and this is our life. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Lifestyle.
one of the biggest challenges we have is our children trying to save other kids' lives. Like, don't eat that or don't eat that. I'm like, listen, that's their choice.
Right.
You know, you
Wow.
guys, this is the way you want to eat. Maybe that their stomach can handle it, your stomach can't. And this is, you know, we're in the fitness world, so
Yeah.
you know.
They're going to be big influencers. You could already see it if they're already having
Yeah.
those conversations at such young ages, right? That's
Yeah.
amazing, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
I took up a lot of your time, but I learned a lot of value, man. I'm glad that we were able, like, I really wanted to get into your mindset, so that people can understand, even right now during the pandemic, they have some control over what's, the pandemic, the elections, so much dependency on external factors. There's no reason for that. You have full control of who you are. If you want to invite the shift, make the shift and take those action steps, right? Because once you
Yes.
conquer it, it will open up other doors for you to go through those doors as well, right? And that's what's happening
Yes.
still after all this time. It's crazy
Yes.
to see, man. You like how many times you've come full circle and you're not laying up with your feet somewhere, you know what I mean? And you're just like, you're still going. So I'm inspired just by listening to you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
For sure. And this is going to reach a ton of people. while I got you, I just want to play a quick game with you. It's called Hands Down the Lightning Round. All right.
Sure.
I'm going to give you 3 topics. You give me your bottom line, your truth, your opinion about these topics. If you don't like the topic, just say pass. I'll move on to the next one. All right. Okay. First one, high intensity interval training, HIIT, or what's the other one? CrossFit.
Well, CrossFit is like HIIT. You know, it's a combination of bodybuilding and HIIT. And I was big on CrossFit. I like CrossFit. It depends on what you want to actually achieve with your body. Yeah. You know, I learned a lot now this second round, and now I'm on my third transformation because now I'm putting on more muscle. Yeah. So now it's about muscle preservation. So I can't, if you want to get like in really ripped shape, but stay lean and maybe not be so huge, the CrossFit will work, but you still got to bodybuild. But if you want to be bigger and more muscular, you really can't do running. You really can't do HIIT. That's a good way to really burn off the muscle that you built. Gotcha. So the answer is I love them both. Yeah. But you know, to preserve muscle, I wouldn't be doing a lot of HIIT.
Okay, I got it. Okay, here's another one for you. You're a boxer, right? You fight. So best boxer of all time right now, and you can even
include Floyd Mayweather. In my opinion, Floyd Mayweather is one of the best because not only was he a good boxer, undefeated, he chose his opponents very well. He timed them well. He chose them when they were like at their weakest, but they were still shining. He made a tremendous amount of money, was able to command the screen. He was able to create a lot of wealth. What he's doing now with his wealth, I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I can know that he basically sustained it, and also more importantly, stayed drug-free. Yeah. You know, not necessarily drama-free, but stayed drug-free. Right. And he didn't really get into any really hairy, sticky situations. And so I commend him for that. And I think that, you know, he did his thing and built his legacy. Yeah.
50-0. He's building up Javante now. You see Javante. I don't know if you caught that fight.
I saw it. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's absolutely. But then you take a guy like Adrian Broner. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
mindset.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Mindset. Yeah. So okay. And the last one, right, is so right now you got Mike Tyson and Roy Jones are gonna fight.
Yeah, you know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of both. You know, I have I'm one friend connected to Roy Jones, a good friend of mine.
Really?
He's sponsored by Roy and he was trained by Roy. And he tells me so many good things about Roy Jones in terms as a human being, as a giving person, as, you know, so those are great things. But then I look at a guy like Mike Tyson and I admire him. I admire him for his acceptance of his mistakes, of the changes that he's made, of the resilience, of his admittance, of I was this guy, I was that guy, you know, and of his mindset change, his personality change. But also of him being able to take advantage of the reinsurgence of his brand. Wow. His brand was reignited when he was in that movie where he punched the guy in the face. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, Hangover.
Hangover, you know, where the whole new generation, the whole new audience got a chance to see him, you know, around the world. And then he rode that wave to the next level. I love his show. Yeah. You know, he just did an interview with, what is it, Little Boozy or whatever.
Hot boxing with Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah. He put him in check for certain things. So a lot of different things, you know, he's a very wise, intelligent guy. And the fact that he still got it, you know, physically, he was able to bring himself back into the disciplines. I have a lot of respect for him. And I'm so excited to see the fight, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Roy is being very coy and he's not posting a lot of his pictures and a lot of his, he's very, you know, so I don't know. I just know he's working with a lot of boxers. Right. I know from my friend who he trains, he brought my friend to win a lot of fights. My friend tells me he's still got it. He's just not showing it off. Yeah. And, you know, like they say, you got a puncher's chance. So this is going to be a very, very good fight. You know, both of them intelligent. Mike Tyson still got the brawn. Now he's got the brains, and now he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, but he's got an intelligent mind. it's gonna be a very good fight to watch because I
Yeah.
really haven't seen any good fights, lately that
Right.
I want to see. So
Yeah. The lightweight division is looking good, man. It's looking real good. You got Devin Haney coming up now with Gamboa. I think
yeah.
you got some you got that kid, Teofimo. I don't know if you follow him. He's
No, I follow the other kid that's under Oscar De La Hoya. He punches really, really fast.
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's up
yeah.
and coming.
So,
I think he needs
yep.
to slow down a little bit though. There's not a lot of people for him to fight, but he needs to slow down because he needs to really get his weight up more so he can take more punches, right? Because it's
I
about
know.
that's one thing about with Roy Jones too. Will he be able to take a Mike Tyson punch? You know what I mean? Because he's breaking body parts, Mike Tyson. He hits you, he's breaking your ribs.
But Roy's got that reach, man.
Yeah.
He's got that reach, and he's got that unorthodox style.
Yeah.
Very hard to catch, and he's very agile. With Mike, he likes to fight close.
Right.
And, he'll catch you with that hook, but his long reach hooks are not as good as his short ones, So
Right.
it's going to be interesting to see. It's a really good matchup if Roy comes in tip-top shape, Both of those men have cement hands, You talk to an old boxer, their hands are like cement. So you just don't want to get hit by that. Either way,
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. And finally, Anthony, what is your bottom line, man? What is your reoccurring truth, right? That reoccurring truth is like it serves as rocket fuel for you. In spite of any setback, any situation, you go to this thing and it pushes you forward. What is that for you? What's your bottom line?
You miss every shot you don't take. And, you have to do the things that most people won't do so you can live the life that most people can't, and you can't get mad at the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do. And that's just a fact, all those three principles, the bottom line is you have to put in the work, and what that means is different to a lot of people, but I know this much.
Yeah.
A crackhead will find a way to support $1,000 to $2,000 a week habit without robbing and stealing. They use the law of attraction. They use the power of positive thinking, whether they, do WIC check cashing or whatever it is that they do, they find a way, whether they're, cashing cans or selling stuff on eBay, whatever it is,
right.
They do what makes them happy. And I saw that in bodybuilding. It's a very expensive lifestyle, food, supplements, gym. Most bodybuilders that are on a professional level, they can't have a 9-to-5 job. And they've also, these are not college, MBA, Harvard grads either.
Right.
So the fact is that they use the same thing, the power of law of attraction, power of positive thinking to support a very expensive lifestyle.
Oh, for sure.
And so the bottom line is you have to reverse engineer your life, figure out what you want to do. Just the examples I gave you with the agents, I would take them to drive the car and go see the apartments and go shop for the furniture. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And figure out, how much time, the price of success is how much life you want to give up.
Amen.
Sometimes that's temporary. For me, it was only 9 months of my life I needed to give up to lose the weight, but most people won't do that.
Right.
So, most people say, oh, I can't do that. I got to do this. What about my job? Or what about all sorts of excuses?
Right.
Meanwhile, everybody lost their job and their bills still somehow got paid. Everybody all of a sudden used the law of attraction. See, so many people out of work, they're still getting the cell phones, they're still getting the Nikes, they're still getting this. What are they doing? PPP loans, this, that, all sorts of crazy things, unemployment. Oh, now you have the skills. Now you have the skills to think smart and how to get on your feet. Everybody's got these skills, what I mean?
Right.
During the worst of times, I'm still seeing people shining on Instagram,
Yeah.
You have it, you're just not applying it to the other things.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
That's real. That's as real as it gets right there, man. Thanks for doing that. Because you do see it on Instagram. You see it all over the place, man. Just to go back a little bit, I think what you're talking about with the fitness is crazy. I stopped following the competitions because after Kai Green got robbed, I don't know if you follow Kai Green.
Oh, yeah, I love Kai Green. Yeah, he's an awesome guy, smart guy. I think that him getting robbed was one of the best things for him because it forced him to become a bigger personality.
Yeah.
And I think that he is doing more with his brand than, let's say, I love Phil Heath too.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
I think that he's a champion, but when you look at Kai Green's portfolio of what he's working on currently, the other brands he's working with, and he did a deal with Generation Iron, which good guys over there know the owners of that company.
Okay.
His documentary, you know, his stuff that he does in India, his movies, his cartoons and stuff like that. You know, when you got a guy like Phil Heath, who's an amazing athlete, a champion, he's not doing as much because he's really focused on that, you know, being champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the time. He's got, you know, every guy under the sun gunning for him.
Yeah.
So how do you have the time? Whereas Kai Green was like, enough with that. I'm going to just build my career. You know, if you watch his documentary, he's taking acting classes. He wants to be an actor. Now he's in movies, and he wants to be involved in science fiction and cartoons, and he's doing that. So he has his own YouTube channel. He's got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Where I don't think he would have all of that time to do those things if he was busy just defending his title.
Right.
So everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
And so, you know, both people are living their own paths. Whatever's meant to be will be. And I think that, you know, I don't know. Look what's happening now. COVID, shows go on, don't go on. You know, it's crazy. I think he still made a name for himself. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like what was
Ronnie?
Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins.
Oh, wow.
You know, and nobody knows who Dominique Wilkins is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, this is different. You know, you have people know who Kai Green is, and that's something to say, you know, so.
Yeah. He did exactly what you said. Like, he tapped into that. But I think, and that's why I commend you so much, because not only did you lose the weight, you went out there, you put yourself on Front Street, you went into competition, and even though, you know, you put yourself, I mean, you're exposed now. You're exposed, and you're subject to somebody else's criticism, and that does a lot to your self-esteem. So the fact that you could, you know, put yourself out there like that, it goes right back to what you said, your bottom line, right? Doing the things other people won't do, right? Taking the step other people won't take so that you can get what you want. It goes right. So you're super consistent with that, and you show it in so many different examples, man. Where do people follow you? Where do people find you, Anthony?
My Instagram, Anthony Lolli, Lolli. You should go to Amazon Prime and just type in Fat Lolli, Lolli, or rbtshow.com. That's the website. We have everything there on the website, rbtshow.com. People can actually enroll to be casted, to be on the show. So if somebody looking to be on TV, they can do that as well. We offer a lot of free information on our social media. We have a Facebook group, community group, where we have our coaches giving free motivation and inspiration and free workouts and stuff like that. So the whole world is on rbtshow.com. Change your life.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Definitely, man. Yo, Anthony, you are the man.
No problem.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Listen, I don't think you understand how serious the impact is going to be going forward. Not like you've been doing so much, but to hear you continue to talk about it, continue to inspire, that right there is going to go a long way. I mean, even past your lifespan, right? Because you're leaving so much material behind, the book, the documentary, so much. And your kids, I mean, I'm sure your daughter's so happy now with her.
Oh, yeah. So much. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. You know, every day. Today she was running, and then I was running right after. I'm like, I couldn't do this before, you know?
Right.
It's like it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Definitely. Thanks for taking the time, Anthony.
No problem. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. This was the Bottom Line Podcast with Anthony Lolli, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say, because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there'll always be the bottom line.